Okay guys, how are you all today? I hope you're super well. I know I slept like a rock and I'm not a big sleeper, so that was awesome. I don't even know if I dreamt, maybe a little bit. It's coming back to me here and there as I'm awake, but I'm sure that is everybody. So first of all, I want to start off with we need to recognize only not that it is the summer solstice, but it's also Indigenous Day. So yay to all of us Indigenous people out there. Okay, and it's beautiful. It's a very, very beautiful day where I am here in Alberta, Canada, which is nice because we have a lot of cold weather here. So we get maybe a month out of all of the months in the year that we get actual nice weather, and it's not snow or rain or wind. So I would just like to talk about some things that have been coming up with me, or I guess for me, and I've been channeling. And I do channel strangely. It's through music and it's through all kinds of stuff, It comes to me in different ways as well. I mean, as you get to know me, I'm sure that we will get through all that. But today we're going to chat a little bit. So dietary warnings. If there's anybody out there who is maybe consuming something in a large amount that's, either not good for you because of the large amount, you need to like slow down a little bit on that, or, you're putting toxins into your body knowingly, unknowingly, all those kinds of things, anything that you put into your body, remember, some things don't leave, so just be careful with that. One of my girlfriends actually brought up a really good point in her video. She's a big health nut, and she's very, very amazing. She's a good teacher. You should probably check her out, the Tipsy Tea Leaf Oracle. She was mentioning about energy and how it can be passed through things that we consume. Now, I know that that is not maybe something everybody thinks about, but now maybe you will. I think it's very important, we have to, that's more the spiritual aspect of it, but, pesticides and stuff too absorb into the things that we even try to wash off. So it's something to keep in mind, not that you have to veer away from all those things just because of that. We can't really avoid it. It's good to eat fruit and vegetables, especially for your little ones. Just, even the organic ones is still kind of the same thing. Like I said, watch her video. It's very, very informative, more so than I'm going to be able to give you info on. But it was just a warning that was brought up. I think that there's certain people that just need to watch it. If you're having a reaction to something, or if your body's not reacting well to it, then just maybe try and switch it out. There's always an alternative. Maybe they're not always the tastiest, but sometimes they're better for us. And it is our temple, and it is what carries us every day through the day, okay? So maybe along those lines with the body, maybe some dental work or a doctor's appointment, somebody needs to make one of those just to get a checkup. I think it would be important. Nothing to be scared of or anything, but, it's just good to do that. We also have, sorry, I have like Unabomber cramped handwriting when I channel, so it's hard for me even to pick up on. Sometimes I'm like, go back to reference like a chicken scratch. So there's been, a lot of just negative energy, a lot of, and I feel that, and you just have to, just resist it. And if not, just take it in and learn a lesson from it. You know what I mean? There was another lady that I watch and admire very much, and her name is, Flo, and she channels too, and she had brought up a lot of that stuff, and check out her channel too. These women have a lot to say, not just me and everybody on YouTube and the spiritual, well, not everybody, but most people, they're trying to get a message across to you or to somebody, and it means something. It's important to just give it a watch. You might learn a few things. I'm gonna say that lavender to somebody might be very important. I know it's very calming. I've been using it a lot. My daughter is 9, and she just has a hard time sleeping sometimes, and it runs in my family. So I find just a little bit of lavender oil on your wrists and rub that together. And a little bit after you rub your wrists together, maybe rub them a little bit behind your, like on your neck, behind your ears area. And it just helps. The scent is really soothing, and I think pretty much just, it's calming. If you have a lot of anxiety, that's really good for that too, if you don't like taking stuff, which I don't personally. So home remedies are always good. Roses. Rose water is good for a lot of stuff. I have very sensitive skin. I actually have a skin condition, so most natural things I tend to pull towards, unless I, if I can avoid it, of course. Rose water, you can use rose in a lot of things. I don't know how you feel about tea, but there's always like rose tea. I prefer it cold. Cold rose tea with peach is always good. And butterflies keep coming up a lot, which is really cute because they mean so many beautiful things. If you look up butterfly messages, I know that different colors mean certain things. For sure, white ones are supposed to mean that there's, you know, passed on loved ones around you, or, you know, trying to send you a message. But butterflies in general to me are just very beautiful. You know, they're all about metamorphosis and transformation. And there's a lot of that going on. I think there's also a lot of, you know, people who are being woke up to the beauty of their spirituality, or maybe even spiritual people who, even of an advanced type, are going through more of an awakening. You know, and it has to make you wonder what's going on in the universe that we're being all prepared for. I mean, I'm not saying the world's going to fall apart. You know, it's not apocalypse time. That's crazy business. I'm just saying that, you know, it's just something to be more woke to, more aware. Like, open up your eyes and mind to all the things, you know, maybe that you haven't in life is all. Like, there's a lot of things out here yet to be discovered. I don't care how old you are. You know, you never stop learning. We just never, we always have the room or the ability to continuously learn until the day we die, actually, and then why not take advantage of that? I have a weird feeling there's a little bit of secret admiring going on here, and, you know, it could be anything in your life, maybe a friend, somebody who you're close to, or just in general. I just got a lot of love vibes going on, you know. Spirit kept bringing up weird little things through music and things like that. And if it's not going on in my life, usually I can connect it to, well, a collective. Somebody's got it going on because I'm being told about it to tell you. So, you know, just most likely just be, I'm hearing, just be, keep your pace, you know, just step by step. There's no need to rush anything, especially when it comes to love. It's one of those things that just has to come naturally. It can't be forced, or, you know, and if you do like somebody, I mean, why not speak up, you know? I mean, we don't have the opportunity to live forever, right? So within those, at least, like, given, what, give or take 100 years, tell that person you like them, you know? I mean, it's worth it. You get shut down, you move along, you know, or we're not, don't sit on one thing either, you know? Don't sit on that. Don't sit still. You're not supposed to sit still. You gotta keep that motion going, you know, and your life is meant for growth. Don't ever hold yourself back. Just because you're scared. I mean, fear's huge. Fear of being rejected, or, you know, turned down, all that stuff. But don't be, you know, if you go in with a high confidence and you got the right tactics, if you know that person well enough, you'll get their goat, right? Let's see. Oh, I found a beautiful little thing in something I read, and it said, the more you know, the less you need. It was something that just kind of kept replaying in my head, and I just wanted to share it with you. So you can take that for what it is, but it was something to think about, because it's a little quote. I'm not going to dwell on it crazily here. I just wanted to share it with you. Also, when we are tested is when we reveal our truest selves. So that goes back to, you know, maybe a little bit of the negative energy stuff. And don't sweat the minor details when there is a bigger picture to absorb. Okay, so this one I did want to talk about. You know, this is the whole sitting on something and making a mountain out of a molehill. Now, I'm not going to say I'm perfect, because I do this often also. And I think that everybody's a little guilty for it. It's a hard thing to do, you know, because all details given are in our lives. Okay, let me try to put it this way. Any detail in our lives that's bugging us, or, you know, our lives, it's a big deal, right? But always there's somebody who has it worse than you, in a sense. So I guess it's a matter of just keeping the balance of your thought in between that. I mean, always do worry about things in your life if it's necessary, but I'm just saying, don't waste your energy on stuff. Like, don't drain yourself. Don't cause yourself to age and, you know, your body to start to, you know, have physical effects from holding stuff in. I mean, do you know how often it is that we have held things inside of us, say even a breakup, like from grade 7, you know? If we don't deal with it properly, that can come out as a toxin later in our organs, you know? Or what, a lot of the time, and I know I'm not saying this is true and I'm not a doctor, I just have seen people go through a really hard time due to things that they probably could have just, like, let go of a little bit more, or dealt with differently in life, that they suffered from for a long time. And, you know, I did read a book once, and it had a lot to do with how emotions and things that we don't deal with, we don't think matter, but they can affect us physically, which they cause, you know, like I said, the toxins. It becomes a manifestation of something bad inside of you, and it has nowhere to go. It's going to create You know, maybe you start to get sick, or it can cause physical problems is all I'm trying to say, right? So it's very important. And worrying about the little things can make you miss all of the other things going on around you. So it's important to just, you know, look at the bigger picture. There is people who have it worse than me. Okay, so maybe my problem's not so bad and it's fixable. You know, I'm not, and don't get me wrong, if that triggers you, I'm really sorry. That means you got work to do. But I'm just saying it's important to recognize those things without those kinds of thoughts afterwards, you know? It's a healthy way of releasing. It's a healthy way of growing. I mean, you have to learn from things. You have to deal with them. They have to hurt. You have to feel stuff, or else you don't grow. I mean, you don't learn things. That's our whole life. Did you know that? All those, you know, those give and or take 100 years I was talking about earlier, it's kind of the same thing. You know, you just have everything to cram into that and just make the most of it in the most healthy, positive way while learning as much as we can while we're down here. I mean, I'm not going to get into the whole, there's a whole other place, and, you know, not everybody can see it on this 3D plane, but anyways, it's important. And if you know about that kind of stuff, then you know exactly what I'm trying to say. I mean, for the most, like, to the fullest of it. Okay, also, the past is in the past, and it's time to let it go. So again, with the releasing, we just talked about that. I mean, you just don't want to shorten your already, you know, almost sort of given years by wasting them either sitting still and wondering or waiting and or in heartache or in despair, or, you know, there's always someone out there willing to help you. I know that that seems really difficult to accept, like, and to hear and be like, okay, sure, whatever you say, Prairie. I've been there, you know, and I also get there sometimes, but that's where I'm able to talk to you about this and tell you that it you know, you can get past stuff and it's important to let it go. You feel way better. You know, that weight, that monkey, you just got to give it a banana. The freedom is not being attached to the outcome. Does that make sense? The freedom is not being attached to the outcome. That goes back to even the, you know, the secret admirer, or you being a secret admirer. Just, you don't, and people do this in relationships, I find a lot of the time, or if you, it's like counting your chickens before they hatch, you know, writing a story before, I mean, don't give it a storyline, you know what I mean? Especially with love, don't give it a headline. It doesn't need a title, it's not supposed to. It's a natural thing, it's supposed to come naturally. You know, it's why there's only one word to explain so many different people's feelings of that, you know? It's just love. Just let it be. Let it come naturally, you know? We all get really sad or, you know, worried, all those things we just talked about, the things that cause us not to sleep at night, thinking we're not going to find it, or all those things. But those thoughts are why you're not feeling that, why you're not allowing it to come into your life. You know, manifestation is a huge thing. Our mind is very powerful, and as humans on this 3D plane, I mean, it's kind of the only thing that we have power of is change of ourselves, you know, the control of ourselves and our outcome, because we can't control what people think of us, we can't control what they do, we can't control time, we can't control healing, which is all of it comes in its own natural state and its own natural time and just flows naturally, okay? I feel like, you know, this is just a lot, like all of it is about growth, you know, people are doing a lot of what most people, pardon me, are doing a lot of what they're supposed to right now, and I'm very proud of everybody, I hope you know that. Especially people who don't get to hear that very often. I mean, when you don't have encouragement or support, the right kind of support, it's just almost better to have none, because it's just, it can really hinder your growth. It can really hinder your healing. All I'm saying is, you know, don't let other people be the narrator to your story. You know, you're not a robot. You have control of all the things of you. Make sure you use that power in a good way too, okay? Because everything goes around, comes around. And I'm going to tell you right now, once it circles a few times, it usually doesn't come back to you very well, right? It's not a very nice thing. It's like a rumor in the classroom. You get it back to you, and it's like, what? What? That's not even believable. That's crazy. That's so bad, you know? And it was just like, oh, you spit your bubble gum out on the floor. And it comes back something totally wild and different. That's the power of energy, especially negative energy. I mean, it can really travel fast, and that sucks. Because everybody's putting that out there, thinking that. It gives it more power, it gives it more speed, you know. We just got to give the good some gas, is all. Right, guys? Let's give the good some gas and share love and spread it, and, you know, it'll come back to you. And it'll come back to you times 10 and in a good way, right, is all I'm trying to say. Possibility is infinitely reproductive. Don't forget that. That was a really cool one. Possibility is infinitely reproductive. So, I mean, that goes again, like, you have all the control, the possibility. That's such a beautiful word. Possible. Everything is possible in your world, and you can control it. Cherish what's yours and respect what's theirs. I also really liked that. Cherish what's yours and respect what's theirs. I mean, that goes, you know, for me, when I read that, I was like, okay, well, people's opinions, people's, you know, ideals, and then open-mindedness, you know, just, you know and hold what's dear to you or what you believe, and that's fine, but don't judge others, you know, based upon, and don't be a hater, you know. I don't hate on anybody or anything, and if I ever, you know, am being negative, I guess it's usually just to make people laugh, and it's usually about myself, but, you know, I try not to ever be that way. But cherish what's yours. I mean, that's very special. A lot of people forget what they have, too. You know, it's a whole being grateful, being thankful, feeling blessed, you know. If you always feel that way, then you probably have a pretty good life. I mean, you're always bringing, that's your whole vibe you put out there. So that your whole life will consist of all of that, because you're always constantly telling the universe you have it. And therefore, they're like, okay, well, we'll just keep that abundance flowing, right? It sounds weird, manifestation. I mean, if you get the chance, you should totally Google it. I mean, your phone's probably in your hand right now, give her a go, right? It's very, very interesting, and there's just so much more than any of us can explain to you how you need to hear it in order to understand it too, so it's sometimes easier just to like hear something somewhere and then go read it for yourself. Not that that's what I want you to do on my channel, but everybody has a different way of information intake and how it sits or triggers, you know, or fills or whatever you want to call it. It gets up there and files in the cabinet kind of thing. Discipline is an essential part of creativity growth. I really like that. You know, it's something I really had to teach myself, especially as an artist. You know, I'm very OCD. I'm such a control freak. This got really out of hand. You know, it was hard to live with, and things had to be certain and precise, and everything had a place. Mind you, I'm still kind of like that, but I had to ease up on it a lot. I used to be a very more, I guess, a structured artist, like everything. My grandma was the one who was like, hey, let's try this. Let's try a bit of abstract art, but still structured so that you can ease into it. And I am not an ease into things. I'm gonna push you into the pool, and somebody has to push me into the pool kind of person. Like, yeah, let's just do it. But that's my way of experiencing things. You know, that was what I asked for, how I wanted to do it. I'm not saying go push people in pools, okay? Not everyone can swim. And I don't do that often. It was just in a sense of like, oh, you don't know about this, let me fill you in, kapoosh, you know? Anyways, she said, why don't we just try this and ease you into it? So I tried to ease into, dip my toes in the water, per se, of abstract art. And then I was like, you know what? I don't like this pace. I'm going to speed it up for myself, and because I was still trying to control what I was trying to move away from, which was being more structured, okay? So then I'm like, oh, I'm going to just see if I can find something new. So I looked online, and I found, actually, I'm going to have to check her channel out, Jilly Cube. She's got a fluid art channel. And so I started doing fluid art, and I watched this woman and everybody else on YouTube, like we do with stuff when we fall down a rabbit hole or we start to like love something. And I got right into it. And you guys, I've made some beautiful art. And I really loved the fact that I pushed myself into that pool. Like, I dove right in, because I wasn't fighting with myself about that control that I was trying, like, I wasn't learning what I was supposed to kind of the other way. It was, okay, so I'm doing this, and this is how it is, and the paint has the control, and I just get to watch the beautiful magic happen, right? I had no control over it. I could swipe, I could do different techniques, was what I'm trying to say, is to, there's so many different techniques with fluid art. It's not just dumping paint that's, you know, watered down on a canvas, but what it creates is what really amazes me, you know, and me letting go of that control and like trying something new and learning something new and just being out of my norm, right? And that kind of stuff. It was very cool. I think you should give it a go. I mean, I'm not saying with fluid art, but if there's anything that you're just like holding back from, or you're not giving your all to, or you're not challenging yourself, give it a try. I really suggest it. You know, I found my most absolute favorite thing to do, and it was so fulfilling to me, you know, mixing the cups of paint, and the alchemy in it for me is a big thing. Like, I had to take parts out, or ingredients out, and then replace them with other things to level it back out, in a sense, because once you remove ingredients or items from paint, or levels of certain, I guess, or percentages of stuff in it, you know what I'm saying, it's not really paint anymore. So then you add things like your pouring medium and all that other stuff, and then it goes back to its, you know, somewhat original state in order to do what it's supposed to do, right? It performs that way. Anyways, what else do I have here? Okay, I think that's it for that page. Like I said, guys, I'm sorry, it's so hard for me to read my own writing. And it's so neat and precise and perfect and organized in every other way except for when I channel, because it just spews out of me and I just have to write it as quick as I can or it's gone. Don't listen to people who explain who you are. This one was extremely important to me, especially because I just started on YouTube. I mean, I've always been an artist. I've always been me. I've always been this person since I was a little kid. I've always been a channeler, a feeler. I'm an empath, you know, a healer in lots of ways. And I like to spread knowledge, you know, I'm like a spiritual igniter. I guess once people have met me, is what I'm trying to say, they're always woke, you know, then they want to advance in that, and I think that's really cool. There should be more of those. There probably is, we just don't talk about it, right? But don't listen to people who explain who you are is so important, because you know who you are. This happens to me a lot. I imagine it happens to a lot of other people. Don't ever try to tell me who I am, right? Or how I'm feeling. I don't do that to other people, so I really expect that back. But I'm always disappointed, because people do. They love to tell you who you are. They love to tell other people who you are and all about you, because that's what they think in their mind. But that is just somebody else's, you know, doodled up version of what people, and then a lot of people believe that, and then that's what, you know, your, what is it? Your representation of yourself, you know, that's very important. And if other people are trying to write your story, it's frustrating, right? When it comes to that kind of thing, just protect yourself, protect your energy, and just your true self knows you, you know yourself, and if you just live that way in that mentality and you put those vibes out there, other people will pick up on that too, and then, you know, it kind of cleans itself up in a sense. It just, but it's so important. I mean, I watch people get broke down, I've been broke down, and many other, like, every day I want to quit something because of that, but then I remember my strength and my power, and that I can't let people win. I can't let people win it's my game, it's my life, it's my story. I want to finish it. I want to write it, you know, I want to tell it. And so I really liked that, though. Like, don't listen to people who explain who you are, ever. You know, and people shouldn't. That's rumors, that's rubbish. Poppycock. When you're overly attached to how things are, the constant nature of change is torture. That one kind of hits hard, too. I mean, I'll read it again. When you're overly attached to how things are, the constant nature of change is torture. You know, this could fall into so many categories, but I want it to fall into your own. I'm just going to say personal experience. These would be like things, or how would I explain it? So a relationship, say you're staying for comfort, or say you're staying somewhere out of guilt, or you do stuff out of guilt. Like, those kinds of things is what that would pertain to, in a sense, to me. Or holding on to something that's hurting. You know, I seen this thing on, I think it was a meme, and it was a rope attached to a hand, and it was being pulled, and, you know, the hand was obviously in serious distress, but it was like the act of letting go, you know. I was holding on to that rope. I was causing that pain. My hand could have popped off because of me. You know, as soon as you let go, that rope is no longer causing that tension. Your hand's no longer going to be ripped off, right? It is torture thinking about the change, too. I mean, fear and, you know, so many things can fall into that, but I just thought it was important to read to you. Like, when you're overly attached to how things are, the constant nature of change is torture. You know, a lot of people, I think, too, you know, getting in the way of your own success and sitting and dwelling and stuff like that, instead of being a go-getter and looking at other people and being envious of their go-getting and their gettings of the getting. You know what I mean? It's, you gotta do it too, is all. Don't be scared of stuff. Don't let fear control you or your life or any of the beautiful things that you're meant to do in it. And if somebody tells you you can't do something, go do it anyways, unless it's bad and it's going to hurt you or cause you, you know, or anybody else. No negative, no violence. I don't condone that. But good stuff. Like, if you got a feels that you got to go do something, go feed that feels. Just go succeed. Go do what makes you happy. Other people and their opinions really should only matter for a brief second. You should hear it, because some stuff is really important, right? Some of those things, even if they hurt, sometimes it's important to hear them, because we'll dwell on it. We hate it. We hate hearing stuff, right? Some of those things are not nice, but, like, sometimes we need the not nice in order to grow. Like, there can't be light without dark, guys, right? That's ridiculous. If there wasn't one, there wouldn't be the other, or we wouldn't know about it, right? I also have Okay, so this is big. Like, I just feel like somebody's been emitting vibrations out there in the universe, and it's kind of having a whole effect. And this could be from, oh, someone being jealous, someone being just maybe not at a level of growth that they should be, or that maybe the person that they're not liking is also. And that's okay. We all have, we all have our feels about stuff. We can be jealous, we can be envious, but like I said, I mean, if you like something that someone's doing, or, instead of it making you angry or triggering, especially if it triggers, you have to go and do some work, right? But go and try your own version of that thing, or go try and do it. Do you know what I mean? That's one thing I don't like when people are, they knock on other people's channels, or other people's just work, or something, anything that they've done, it's like, well, if you haven't tried it yourself, don't knock it. Don't be judgmental. Like, if you're gonna say something and comment on somebody's work, then you should probably make sure that you have a gallery yourself, or, you've at least tried it, so you can say that that they're not doing well at it, that kind of thing. I just feel like it's really important to not discourage others, especially if you don't like being discouraged. Like, don't treat other people how you don't want to be treated, man. That's kind of one thing that I've always been raised on, and my kid too. Like, it's important not to treat people like garbage, because then you kind of look like garbage, and you're gonna feel like garbage, and your life might be a little bit garbagey, right? Might be at the bottom of that barrel with old Oscar. But I'm just saying, just be good, just be wholesome, just be true, be easy, be light, walk lighter, talk lighter, be more generous with your, you don't have to give people things, just be generous with your thoughts, your energy that you do put out there, your emittance of it, make sure the essence that you're putting out there is not of a bad nature. I mean, it does come back around. I know nobody really likes to hear that or believe it. That's just silly talk. Well, no, it's not. If you're a negative person and you're putting negative stuff out there, and then you're wondering why stuff's not coming to you negative, Nancy, that might be why. It's just a matter of changing your soul's, just change your tune. Change the tune for everybody to sing to, you know what I mean? If it's a deep, dark, ominous note, I mean, it's going to sound like a horror movie, right? If not, if you want to do it a little bit like music boxy notes, you're going to probably have birds chirping and all that kind of magical stuff, right? Good magic is another thing. Magic is real. You can do spells, and I don't suggest it. I just don't. Even, not unless it's like, just a love myself better spell, or I want to put better things out in the world spell, or, like doing things out of pride or out of greed or ego, or any of those things is not doing it out of your truest self. And I don't think that's living. Then you might have a hard time living your best you, your most beautiful you. It is so much easier on your energy and on you in your physical to just be good than it is to be dark. And I know that sounds silly, because not everybody walks around with rainbows and sunshine up their butt. I get it, but I'm the same way too sometimes, but there has to be both. I'm just saying, find your balance and make sure you stay within it. Find your limit, stay within it, just like gambling. And like, it's not good to hurt other people. It's not good to wish bad upon other people. Like, humans are meant to love, We are, we're unique for sure. We're different. It's a bunch of animals wearing clothes. Just kidding. So I also just have some stuff I want to talk about, like so this is one of those things. Now, I know personally when I'm being attacked for so many reasons, right? And everybody knows, everybody has their intuition. That's just a natural instilled human thing. Back in the day, we were actually hunted by things. We were not the top dog, so we had to have things like that instilled in us to trigger fear and stuff, so we had to survive, go run and hide, you know what I mean? It was a survival thing, but we are not Neanderthals anymore, are we? We've advanced so much, and that's why I expect better of everybody, I really do. We're not a bunch of cavemen running around. We should have what it takes now in 2022 to accept, appreciate others for who they are, and, not send negative vibes out to everybody all the time. Everybody should just be smarter than they sometimes play that they are, I guess, when it comes to well-being and being a wholesome, true self. It's easy to lie to ourselves, too. It's easy to lie to others. We don't want to do that. So I don't like, it's not that I don't like spiders, I have arachnophobia, right? I have nothing against spiders. They just freak me out. I just think they're they're not appealing, and honestly, they're like little night ninjas. I've never seen a spider bite me. They bite me, but I've never seen one bite me. Like every other bug, you can catch them in the act, right? You can't catch a spider in the act. So for me, it was like, there was one, and I'm always looking, because like we have an older house, and you know, they come in through the creaks and the cracks and whatever. And it's summertime, so my kid leaves the door open all the time. We don't have a screen door. Long story short, I'm sitting there, I'm doing some artwork and finishing up a project the other night, and I felt a tickle on my toe, and I wasn't going to look, because lately when I do, it's fine, and I'm usually on top of the spiders, right? I always, like, I don't know, I usually know when one's there, but this time I didn't, and it was right on my foot. And then I kicked my foot, and I flicked the spider off, and he fell, and I seen him. I didn't squish him, I just let him go. I put him back outside, because I don't like to kill things either. I just feel like it's not fair for me to take a life. Being native, if we did that, it was for survival. So, I mean, hunting, right? You take every bit of the animal that you can, and use it for something that it's worth. You give it its respect. You do it respectfully. I don't like to just squish bugs. I mean, unless it's really like coming after me, then it's got to go. But it's not, who am I to take a life, you know? I don't have that power. I mean, I do, but I'm not gonna use it. That's terrible. So anyways, the spider, he fell on my foot, and because I don't ever see them attack me, and this is what I'm getting at, is like sometimes you can get hit with stuff and you're not going to see it coming, or it's not something that you can see with the physical eye, but you can feel it, okay? So that's kind of where I'm tying the whole, I felt that spider on my foot. I didn't even think it was a spider. I wasn't going to look. You know, and that's the thing, is sometimes it could be someone close to you, or if it's in a comfortability in a sense, then you're not going to check to see. All of those little things mean something to me. I don't really think there's a whole lot of coincidences. And the spider being on my foot too, it just gave me a weird feeling. Like, and I looked at that spider for a while. You know, I gave him way more attention than I thought I would, but it obviously meant something to me, and I really wanted to bring that up to you, and how, you know, I perceive a spider. And then I looked, you know, at what a spider is meaning, and it all resonated with me. So if I can read this to you. So, a spider indicates a web of connection. Cast your wealth being aside to see what it brings. Cast your fear aside to see what the wider picture brings of the spider's meaning. It guides you through and unites and helps you fabricate a connection. Like all of the little woven, you know, their web is what it's referring to. So it's a strong, like beautiful, unique pattern. So say you find a wonderful group of friends, you know, you can connect that to. It's like the spider, it meant something dark to me, and it was a warning. And I also don't really care for them, you know, in my space. But I also really thought that it was beautiful, that I did not squish him, and I just stared at him for a while. Usually I don't give them that much attention. You know, so it was a matter of, okay, so yes, I was being warned about something, but I was also being taught, you know, I know where to look for my strength, and I know why and where it's coming from, and what, like, the warning of the message was. Like, all of it was very connecting. So just, like, the whole point of me telling you that is just look for little signs and synchronicities. Like, if you're ever feeling something but you can't see it and you know it's there, you know, you're probably not crazy, okay? You just need to do some research, okay? And or just really sit, maybe meditate, you know? Maybe get in touch with yourself. I always ask people this when they have an issue and they're freaking out. When I calm them down, it's like, woo-sa, when was the last time that you connected to you? When was the last time you asked yourself something and you listened to yourself? When was the last time you just got rid of everything that you're always constantly putting your energy into, and just sat in the grass and just felt it with your hands and your toes, and just closed your eyes and took all of the scents and all of the sounds in, you know? Every time I do that, it just opens up a whole beautiful thought world, you know? It's like Fantasia. It's very important, I feel. You know, your soul is connected to things that you don't even know sometimes. And you have the answers a lot of the time. It's just a matter of being in tune with that, or finding your niche, you know? Whatever makes you happy. Sometimes even having a bubble bath. I know that sounds like, oh, all girls in their bubble baths. Well, no, but they're really important. You know, and you can have spiritual baths. You can have, you know, intention baths. It's just as much as, you know, it's just like good light love and manifestation work and healing for yourself and your soul. And just being connected to yourself is just such an important, beautiful thing. Like, it makes me want to cry, because it's sad that there's just like a whole bunch of disconnected people that walk around. I want to help everybody, but I don't have the power to do that or the energy because I'm just me. You know, but think about it. If all of us had that mentality of wanting to help, and all of us had that mentality of, I mean, just having emotions that you're supposed to have, empathy, compassion, you know, all those things. There's so much dark that's just inside people